Welcome to the Estate Professionals Mastermind Podcast, a podcast for estate professionals who earn more, work less, and make a huge difference in their communities. If you get value out of this free content, be sure to check out ProbateMastery.com, where you can get live classes, access to weekly coaching, and valuable courses. To learn more, visit ProbateMastery.com. Now let's jump into this week's content.
What is going on? Welcome. This is the Probate Mastery Tuesday call. We have these calls every Tuesday for folks who are practitioners in the initially work in the probate space. We have agents, we have investors, and we sometimes have other folks and vendors here to share their knowledge, ask their questions, and to really just build and grow together. My name is Courtney Rollins, as I said, and as you will notice, I am not Bruce Hill. Quite often, Bruce and even Bill Gross and folks have hosted this Tuesday section, and today I was asked to host it so we can share some of the love, some of the knowledge. If you've been here before, then you are quite familiar with how this format works. If not, give me a moment to just let you know this is meant to be interactive. So the questions that you have, comments that you have, expertise and experience that you can share is going to help make this process go well. I do have a couple of ideas and places that I can share and go, but this space isn't necessarily for me. It can be shaped by the conversations and the questions and the thoughts that you bring. All right. So as we get going, I would love for folks who haven't already done so, go ahead and put your information into the chat, saying who you are, what market you're in, perhaps some things that you may have questions about or want support with, so that people can connect with you. Feel free to interact in the chat. It's awesome when folks are answering questions, supporting each other, and in that space. Yeah. So we're here. What's up, Cam? What's going on? What's up, Chuck? I see a lot of familiar faces. So let's go ahead and rock and roll. As you put that in there, also would love to just start off with just asking folks who has some big wins or something they want to share that's happening this week with them. And in fact, I'll start. And last week, I had the great pleasure of going back home to Decatur, Alabama. It's about 20 minutes outside of Huntsville in the northern part of Alabama. And as I was going through, like many of you, like I'm just, my brain isn't set up like most people out there. I'm looking at real estate all the time. So as an investor, I'm driving through the hometown, and that's my hometown. I haven't been there in about 15, 20 years. I'm seeing all these properties that just look like they need some love. And so I get the itch. I start pull out my Drive for Dollars app, tagging the addresses. I start making some calls last week, and already first two people I spoke to, one of them knew my granddad, knew my uncle and all, and was interested in selling. And another person was interested in selling, but he already has a contract. So that was pretty cool for me. But what was also really cool is I just decided a day ago to, hey, Courtney, you need to pump the brakes on that. So as excited as I was to go to my hometown and think about a new market and open it up, I really thought about it. I was like, my goodness, do I really have the bandwidth to find boots on the ground? Perhaps I could get a cousin or someone, but do I really have the bandwidth to do that? So I feel like I did a good job of, my ADHD brain was like, oh, I want to let me try that new shiny new market right there. But I was allowed myself after a little breather to pull back and say, hey, Courtney, RDU is your area. Let's focus. Let's go ahead and create as much value here in this space. And, maybe it's for a different time. So I've heard that folks who are successful, one of the things that they're able to do is say no sometimes. So I was able to say no to myself, even though I started digging in and almost went to a full tilt new market there. But what about anyone else? Please unmute yourself and share some of your wins or things that happened this past week you want to share.
So it's not so much of a win. I mean, first and foremost, I lost my voice.
What's up, Cam?
What's up, buddy?
Yeah.
So I lost my voice. So I have a deal I've been working on for a little bit. The family's real cool. They're from my area, but he moved to New York. And thought we were going to be able to go through informal probate, but we got denied because the dad didn't update the will for like 17 years. So now we got to go through formal, but yeah.
But you're generating stuff. You're generating activity and trying to serve, man.
Absolutely. We actually had a good rapport because his little sister and my little sister both went to Bryant College and they both just graduated. So it just kind of worked out, you know.
Golly. And how'd you even know that information, Cam?
We were just sitting there, just shooting the stuff. Like I made sure I tried to at least stay there for like 45 minutes, and we were just talking, and then we were just like, because his sister lives in Rhode Island. I was like, oh, my sister just graduated. He's like, from where? I'm like, Bryant, and it just all worked out. But
there it is, having conversations, being genuine, connected, and oh man, that is awesome. Man, you might be one of the kings of just finding connections. It seems like every time we have a conversation, it's like, oh, she knew this or I knew that, or they, that's awesome, man.
Reaching out to people. I mean, you know the vibe.
Absolutely, brother. Absolutely. Yeah.
That's how we met.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so yeah, it's awesome, Cam. Who else out there has something they want to share? Is that Laura speaking? I think you have to unmute yourself. I think I see Laura's mouth moving. I don't know what she's talking
about. Okay. I got yeah. Well, I just signed up for the Probate Mastery. I took my first online course on Thursday, so that's a win for me.
Congratulations. Yeah. Awesome.
One question I do have, though, he said that there is a test at the end of the live mastery. Where do I find that test?
Is Lou on the line? That may be a question. If Lou's up here, he may be help with the technical pieces. But if not, Laura, let me make a note of that. Okay. I can just shoot that to Lou. He's one of the hardworking or behind the scene folks here. You guys might know him. Where to find tests?
Right. The quiz or whatever.
The quiz. Gotcha. Okay. Sounds good. Yep. And if someone else does know that, feel free to unmute yourself and share or put it in the chat, and we'll get Laura squared away. All right. I wonder how many new folks we do have who's picked it up in the last month. Sarah from Oregon says she thinks it's in the recorded version.
Yeah. So at the end of sorry. So at the end of each like video, they're gonna have like a little quiz. It's gonna say it right after it.
It is. Yep, and that's what Frankie sounds is backing that up. The recorded lessons at the end of each lesson. Laura, if you have any challenge getting to that, we'll connect you to some of the folks behind the scenes and get you in the right place. All right. Okay. Well, this is our call, folks. So before I take over, which I don't want to do, let's see, what are some challenges? What's coming up? What's on your mind that you're facing? You can either hit the icon to raise your hand virtually. You can either throw some questions into the chat, and we'll give you all a few moments to do that. And if not, then I can rock and roll. And as we do that, please note, if this is your first time, if you're listening to this, or if it's your first time here, these calls are recorded. They are placed anywhere you can find podcasts, so you can continue to go back and pull from it. So just please be aware of that.
Yeah, I have a question.
Mm-hmm.
So when you post, I'm making my YouTube videos already, and when I go to post them on social media, should I post just a snippet, like a short? Let's say my video is 4 or 5 minutes long. Mm-hmm. Should I just post maybe like 30-second part of it and then put the link to the YouTube video, or post the whole video on Facebook?
All right, that's a great question, Cesar. And that's my Jimmy Jam right there. I do a lot of passive prospecting, probate property passive prospecting, the P's, using YouTube primarily. And so the question that Cesar's asking is what, the difference between short form, which is usually like 90 seconds and less, to medium long form, which is over 90 seconds and longer. And there's a couple of tips that I would give you, Cesar. One, YouTube, and it changes there all the time, but YouTube really likes, and Google really likes, long form. You can get folks engaged. So like having 90 seconds or longer for your YouTube channel is awesome. you're going to get a lot of traction there, but you can repurpose it just as you're saying. You can actually, a lot of these StreamYard and just count the thousands of other apps that are out there can automatically create snippets for you. And those snippets are awesome to catch people's attention and using those. Now, when you do repurpose them, which is awesome, taking one piece of content and using it over and over again, different platforms, make sure in YouTube that you don't post the link to YouTube or to LinkedIn or to some other sites directly. What I would encourage you to do, and this is directly from some folks shared with me, is that you can put like a post or a caption. You may have seen me do this before, or my VA do it before, of what you want to say, some question or whatever you want to say, and then in the comment section, actually post the link. And the reason you do that is because, I mean, think about Facebook and LinkedIn. It makes sense when you think about it. They don't really encourage the viewing of things that are going to pull you away from their site, unless it's some ad or something that's going to give revenue. And so what we found is that Facebook was more likely to show your stuff if you put the link in a comment, but not directly on the. Does that make sense? Not directly in the platform.
Okay, got it.
Awesome. Yeah, man. How's it going with the YouTube? How are you doing that? Or the videos?
Yeah, it's going good. I've been I started my YouTube channel maybe about 7-8 months ago, and probably about a month ago I started just focusing more on the probate videos. It just used to be kind of general, but now I'm doing more of the probate, and I want to build up my channel. You know how you have the different parts within the channel just on the probate.
Right. Well, let's help Cesar out, folks. Cesar, if you don't mind, if you're willing, could you post your link in the chat? And if you don't mind, maybe we can get 4 or 5, or shoot, I don't know, we have 50 viewers on here. Maybe we can have like some more subscribers. So please, if you're willing, let's follow, hit that like and subscribe for Cesar, if you would mind putting your link in there, man.
I'll put it right now. Thank you.
No worries. And as people are thinking about questions, I guess I should take a step back, because you are used to hearing Bill's voice. You may be used to hearing Bruce's voice, and you may have heard my voice in the past. I have hosted before, but just to give you a backdrop, I come from an education background. I was an educator for 20 years. I don't know how I got 20 years. I started when I was 1 year old. No, I'm kidding. 20 years. And at some point I realized that I was going to get married, and I, like many of you, I was trying to figure out, how am I going to add more money to the bottom line and support my family. Rich Dad, Poor Dad, all that good stuff. Came across real estate, eventually led into wholesaling. And that's where my primary focus is, wholesaling. But then when I moved to North Carolina, I was in the Baltimore market, still do deals in Baltimore, but I had to figure out a way to get this market going. Oh, and I see I spelled Raleigh wrong. Don't judge me, guys, on my title. But anyways, and so I had to figure out a way to get this market going quickly. And I remembered I had Probate Mastery back when Chad was running it. I bought that course maybe a year into my wholesaling, one of those, you get to see all these little things, and I bought it, never did anything with it. But then I was like, wow, let me jump back on there, got on there, and Bill and everyone was encouraging people to get involved, go down to the courthouse, generate business there. And that's exactly what I did. I just took literally what they said and did that, and found a lot of success. In fact, Durham, North Carolina is one of those small, big towns where I actually was able to go in, and the deputy clerks let me sit in on their cases, all on the auspice that, hey, I'm trying to figure out and learn as much about the process to make it easier for you guys in there and easier for the folks who come into your office. And that was the exact truth. And it still is the exact truth. So it was very, very awesome to be able to generate business from there. I also started recognizing that, Bill and all these folks were posting all these videos. So, hey, I got YouTube. It's a free channel. It's a free source. YouTube is, don't quote me on this, but as far as search engines, more people are starting to go to YouTube for how-to, as opposed to just straight up Google. And that the metrics may have changed on that, but it's still such a large number that now I get about 3 or 4 leads a week just coming to me. And I'll be honest, just transparency. A lot of those are questions about probate, because they have a lot of, we help with the non-legal side, so I will help them out. But it does generate leads. It generates brand awareness. And I have all these like Cesar, he has all these silent 24-hour a day salesmen out there sharing what Cesar does, like on his YouTube channel. When he's asleep, when he's awake, it's there. And so I love the space, and I love working as an educator. I love generating and building with folks, and so that's why me and Bruce and folks have connected so much, and that's what brought me here. So just so you know who's actually speaking with you. All right, awesome. I see folks are signing up for your channel, man. That is awesome.
Oh, thank you.
First time visitor, but driving. Just signed up. Oh, awesome. Nora just signed up. All right.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, that's awesome. So we got folks doing some mobile university, using their car as a university. That is an awesome tool.
Hey, Courtney, you know what I like about you and Bruce, and from what I've seen from the chat's videos, that you guys are always so helpful. You share everything. You don't hold back. Basically, all the knowledge that you have. You guys are always very helpful, and I'm very grateful for you guys for doing that.
Oh man, I appreciate that, man. It takes a village, right? This is definitely a team sport, and so as we grow and learn, that's awesome. I appreciate that. Yeah. There's the people I encounter. I encounter folks all across this space that are I feel like just like that and genuine, if I can give myself a description and compliment. But thank you so much, man. All right. All right, folks. If we don't have any questions, I'm going to go ahead and share a couple of. I have like 4 slides to share.
I have
one more.
Awesome. Yep. I think Frankie's up, and then we'll go to Cesar.
Okay, quick question. Cesar can probably chime in on this as well. But as far as because I'm new to building my social media, so I heard Cesar say that he has a YouTube recording, maybe I think he said 20 or 30 minutes. So what you're doing is you're breaking down the recording and actually posting it on other social media pages to lead people to your YouTube page. Is that what you said?
Well, I'm not doing it, but I was asking if I should do that.
Okay.
They're not 20, 30, but they're like 5 to 7 minutes.
Okay.
And yes, you should. There's a term called backlinks, Frankie. So the algorithm, the Google searches, the Bing searches, they love the more backlinks you have. And backlink is basically your link some other place, in LinkedIn, on Pinterest, on other people's sites and all. The more that's going to validate and tell Google, Bing, and all these search engines, this is a valid search, and this is what people want, because what they're trying to do is get people exactly what they want as quickly as possible. And so by Cesar putting it in different spaces, putting this link in different spaces, he's creating backlinks, and it's giving him more of they call it an authority score, and it's making people see his stuff.
So Google and Bing will actually like catch it, and it happens on its own.
Yes, you can pay. Now be careful, because there are a lot of folks who will say, "Oh, I can get you I get you on the first page with a certain amount of money," and they can do it in I don't want to say unnatural, but they can try to game the system, and I think that works for the short term from what I found. But in the long term, you really want to do it organic. So yes,
organically, yeah. Okay.
So you really want to post on those. Like I'll post a YouTube video, and then my VA, he's going to post it on LinkedIn, Pinterest, YouTube, Facebook. Again, he'll put it in the comments section for YouTube and LinkedIn.
Got you. Yeah. Okay.
And then he'll also post it on my website that I have under my vlogs and resource page, so that somebody types in Probate North Carolina, if they're looking for a video, or even just Probate North Carolina or in the Durham area, I'm on the first page. And that's just for being consistent.
All right. And I have one more question,
sure.
Courtney. So I'm going to the house to observe and hopefully sit into some court hearings here on the 23rd coming up.
Awesome.
This is my first time, so I am literally kind of clueless. What kind of questions do I because I want to walk up to an attorney if I feel led to do it. Their demeanor has to be right, but I want to ask some questions. What are some good I know what to ask the probate clerk. Like I have that part from when I was taking the classes, but just off cuff, like what are some things that you would inquire or ask of a probate attorney?
All right, great. Yeah. So Oh, let's see. So what are people thinking? I know I have my own thoughts and I'll definitely share, but can someone chime in? What are some questions to ask or to say to a probate attorney that you may see in court or just in general?
What I plan to do is ask how I can help them build the referral business when I talk to people who might need an estate attorney.
Oh, this is awesome. We were just having this conversation yesterday with everybody, right, Chuck? Yeah.
Yes. In fact, as soon as this call's over, I got an attorney that I met a couple of days ago that will be asking that same thing instead of what I used to ask.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Cam says one, he gave a great tip. When you go into the courthouse, just like any space, make sure you are really taking care of the folks who take care of us, the security guards, the people at the front desk, all those folks. If you go into an attorney's office, the most important people are really the gatekeepers. Those are the folks who are going to get you to have those conversations quite often with attorneys. So that's awesome, Cam, that you had that. And Cam said a question you can ask is, let me do it in Cam's voice. How can I? No, I'm kidding, Cam. How can I add value? And tell them what you're doing. Yeah, so I would say, it's just similar to that. It's just similar the way you're approaching the clerks or the deputy clerks. Hey, hi, how's it going? I'm Frankie. I help families going through the probate process, and one of those things is helping them connect to awesome attorneys that can help them through the process. Is that what you're doing? Are you still, are you involved in probate? Yes, I am, or no, I'm not. Are you looking for more business? Yes, I am. No, I'm not. And then you can go from there. Now, there is a course on the Probate Mastery called E.A.R.N. The acronym is E.A.R.N. Attorney Referrals Now. And it does have some links to some really solid questions you can have once you sit down with them. But they're generally that, putting yourself in that attorney's world. What type of work, probate work are you doing? Are you more administration? Do you do litigation? Or what do you want to do? What business do you like to do? How can I, if I find somebody, how can I set them up to be a successful client for you? Those type of questions.
All right, that's good stuff. I appreciate that. I'm definitely I wrote this stuff down as fast as I could, and I'm also going to go to the probate our probate site and look and study that on there as well. Appreciate it.
Awesome, and do it. Yeah, it can be challenging and scary to talk to attorneys, and that's why you need to do it more, because the more you practice, the more you do it, the I don't want to say easier it is, but the more I guess the less scary it becomes. And attorneys are just like us, I mean, I've had my bad experiences with them. I've even had to woosah after the attorneys treated me as if I was nothing, but I've also had awesome experiences with attorneys too. So, it's not about you. You're trying to serve, you're trying to help, you're trying to add value so that you can, support folks. So sometimes you gotta get through the bad ones to get through the good ones.
Good stuff. Thank you.
Yeah, Courtney, one more question with regards to the courthouse. I'm here in Houston, Texas, and this is not a little big city. This is a big, big city. And so I wanted to partner up with one of my probate attorney friends. And I asked him, hey, could I go to your next hearing? And he says, yeah, sure. And then he said, I'll send you the Zoom link. And I'm like, what? I wanted to go down to the courthouse with you. He's like, nah. He said, now we're doing them over Zoom and this and that. So, I mean, they must still be having them at the courthouse, right? I mean, it's not all Zoom.
I guess every county, and even sometimes within the counties as big as Houston is, there may be several places where they're holding it. Yeah, that's the challenge. For me, a month ago, Durham switched up their records to now they're on electronics. I'm like, oh, now I need to, it doesn't give me the opportunity to meet face to face and connect with folks. But yeah, in that situation, what are you going to do? Are you going to still attend, or what are you going to do?
I'm going to go down just to get familiar with it. But one thing that I'm starting to do, and I went about a month ago to this event. It's called Wheels and Wine. On Eventbrite. I don't know if, that's nationwide, but you could just put in there Eventbrite, and I noticed that now that I'm in this, there's a lot of those events where attorneys will host events and where they'll market to people and they'll have it, and people will go there for about 30, 45 minutes, an hour, and they'll talk about trust and wills. Right. And so what I did last week is I sent an email out to that attorney that did that, and I told her, look, I'd like to help you fill up that room. I've been in real estate for over 22 years, and my clients need your service. Can I help you? Can I help you fill the room? And she's like, yes. So I want to start doing that a little bit more, networking with attorneys and going to their events that they're hosting to kind of bring value.
That is awesome. Everything you said, I thought was an awesome approach. If anybody has a comment on that, or please do share. But that's an awesome approach. Particularly working with vendors. Those are hopefully it's reciprocal. It could be a resource space that's just requires you putting your energy into the relationship, and it's a constant resource. And even as you're saying, you're talking about trust and wills, and the more we're knowledgeable we are of those spaces, we don't have to play attorney, or we can still stay in our lane. But having an understanding is going to give us more tools in the tool belt and be aware of, like, okay, here's how here's how we can connect folks better. And that space is also broadening to the I don't want to say senior living space, but the space where a lot of people who pass away quite often are older. So being able to connect with vendors who are senior placement, or like, for instance, I go once every 2 months to a dementia care space, and I'm like the the belle of the ball in there when I let them know, hey, I help people go through get placement. I help them come up with decisions about what to do with the house if they're looking for resources and things of that nature. And long as I can come with a serving attitude as opposed to, like, deal breath, it seems to really help. So I think you're on point. Keep doing that, man.
Thank you. And then one more thing about that is that there is no gatekeeper there, because you go to the event and you're meeting the attorney directly. You're shaking their hand. They're a lot more friendly, and you get to them faster.
That's a great point, because, like, they're supposed to be smiling and shaking babies and kissing hands. So why not catch them there? Yeah. Oh man, everybody Simpsons? No, okay, all right, yeah. Awesome. What else we thinking about, folks?
Hey, Courtney, my name's Matt.
Matt.
Question for you: when you're making your phone calls, what approach do you take? Or, I mean, I could say script, but what approach do you take when you begin making your phone calls? Tell us or unpack that a little bit for us, what that looks like for you and what you've had the most success with.
Gotcha. When I'm making phone calls, I first just try to make sure that my space is prepared. I try to have like I have a routine so that I can get into the groove of it at all, So, but when I'm making my phone calls, I try to be as conversational as possible. I do know the process, like the steps I want them to go through, but I don't like read verbatim a script. And I'm usually just approaching them with hey, how's it going? This is Courtney, or not this is Courtney, but hey, Matt. Hey, Matt, this is Courtney from Estate Pro Service. I was calling because we offer probate services and real estate services, family going through the probate process. But it sounds like I'm catching you at a bad time here. I usually go to that because I want to give them a chance to say no early on. And usually they're like, no, I'm good, or yes, it's a bad time. And I'm still allowed to say, okay, well, cool. I won't take up much of your time. We offer real estate services families, as I said. And by any chance, what are your plans for the property that's in the probate? And then they'll let me know whether they have property, whether it's too early or not. Before I was going with and you'll see in some of the course that has different paths. One's like a concierge service where, like, hey, I help you with all the probate side. But I actually was inspired by, I see him up here, Dave Pinnell. Thank you, Dave, because he actually shared with me how he's a little more direct. And after, I think 3 times, oh my gosh, I had people call me back. I know at least one lady still burns me up to this day. Sweet lady, I was calling once a month, and finally she ghost on me. I couldn't talk to her. And then 3 months later, she calls me back. Hey, Courtney, how's it going? Really good news, Courtney. I was able to sell the house, and now I just need help with this paperwork on the probate. And I'm like, obviously, it's not her fault. It's my fault. I didn't convey enough that I actually want to have an opportunity to buy the property. And so I know when I heard David say, he's like, matter of fact, David, you're going to hop on and say how you're like, as your approach and all. I think that would be helpful to everyone.
Yeah.
Put you on the spot.
It takes those experiences to know that you need to be more direct. Even I've lost deals, and even I've been to, there was a guy last summer that I was trying to get 3 houses from, and he never answered his apartment door. And I went to the neighbors' apartments. I would never knock on his door. I would be very nice and put a card in his door because I didn't want to bother him. But he had spider webs on the outside. It looked like he hasn't opened the door in years.
Wow.
He was a hermit. He stayed in his apartment. He was 78 years old, probably a little bit of dementia or a lot. He never, the people around him said they never saw him come out of the apartment. Never. One day I knocked on the door and he opened the door and said, "Yes, I'm ready to sell the houses."
Wow.
And he said, "Hey, give me 20 minutes. I'll meet you down at Brahms, which is like a block away." And then a week after that, he signed with another investor the same contracts while I was trying to get through title. Because I wasn't clear to him that I was buying the houses. He thought I was just trying to do some paperwork for him.
Yeah.
It sucked, man. But we ended up I closed that deal right before the other guy filed a memorandum of contract in Texas that locked it down.
Oh,
and
nice,
we almost lost the deal by about 6 hours.
Oh my goodness.
But my investor still had to pay because he filed his contract in his memorandum. So he had to pay like $7,000 to clear the title to sell the house. But just the idea, you got to be crystal clear with these people, even when you don't want to. A lady just called and said to stop sending her letter because they had a realtor in the family that was going to sell their houses. I said, "Hey, look, just keep my card for a backup because I do buy houses no matter what the condition is." She says, "Oh, you do that?" It's just like, nothing. You got to think about your own life, man. You'll go through life with your patterns, and you always got to interrupt their pattern. Everybody, even my wife, my kids, your wife. I don't know if you're married. Yeah, you are. Yeah, you are. Dang, I saw that. Hey.
Yeah, I completely agree. I mean, you see how Coke or Mattress Firm or places are constantly, advertising, putting themselves out there, and being
until you're ready, you're not ready.
Yeah. So exactly. So that's one thing that I also do is like I try to make no assumptions, because sometimes I'll talk myself out, especially in follow-ups. I'm like, oh, I know they're talking to other investors, so there's no point for me to call them back. Or last time we spoke, they were a little upset or nasty. And I really have to practice blank slating and just like, hey, my job is to serve, and let me just have a conversation. As much as it can feel like a conversation, Matt, it feels like it's a little more successful. And as Dave is saying, being clear about what I can provide, but also, I won't go too deep in there, but being clear about what I can provide.
It's about getting that appointment too, no matter if it's just to see the house, it's to buy the house, or whatever it is. You're only going to be one or two people that they're going to call in for help. And they're only going to probably meet 1.5 people, a half a person. I mean, like a relative that's going to sell real estate part-time. And then they're going to meet a full-time person, which is you, that are directly communicate with them what the intentions are.
And that's the art, right? Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
No, I'm sorry, David.
Half the battle is just you showing up and get to that appointment.
And that's the art too, because you want to be clear, but you also don't like I wouldn't come in to somebody and say, "Hey, I can pay all your closing costs. I can do all this stuff." I don't know what their pain is. So I'm not going to try to solve something that no assumptions, that they haven't even showed me. That's where the conversation comes in. That's where the listening comes in. That's where the pulling out the pain comes in. Then I can, down the road where it's time for here's my offer, I can retell their story that I helped them paint. And then hopefully because of the connection we have, because of the listening we have, I can go speak to directly what they're asking for. Not my vision, their vision. And you can only get that if you ask, clear questions. So it's like an art of being able to be clear of what you can provide, but also, and you said something else, David, like making sure I end the call with a clear next step, even if it's I'm going to text I'll talk to my sister. Okay, you're talking to your sister, and I'm calling you back tomorrow at this time. Or we'll meet at the house. Okay, we're meeting at the house. As long as we have any pre-commitment, really, or any commitment that you want to set when you leave that conversation, one, it helps you already create that space of subconscious. We're working together, shoulder to shoulder, and two, it allows to at least move the sales process forward.
And creating that reciprocity. I can't ever say the word reciprocity. I learned that from
How
Haas
about you?
Pratt. He's a big time coach here in Texas, all over really. But even if you get off the call and just send them a Starbucks card of $5, if you say, "Hey, I'm gonna send you a letter with my business card," even though they might have 5 of them from me already, and they get a Starbucks gift card in the mail for $5, you're just, even if you didn't get that commitment, they're gonna think of you a little bit more.
Classy.
So it's just, yeah.
Yeah, that's a standout. Reciprocity? Is that it, Joy?
Yeah, yeah, whatever that word.
I don't know.
Reciprocity.
I know that's how you, yeah.
So,
yeah.
hey, I just got a deal in Grand Prairie. It closes 2 days from now. And the sole reason I think I got that deal because I stood in front of her and asked her, "Is there anything else that you need that other investors are not offering you?" And she said, "I just need to move these cabinets out of the house." The other 2 investors that came here told me that I had to be out the day of the contract. No flexibility. I had to sign the contract right now. And we sat there, talked about those cabinets for probably 45 minutes.
Wow.
Just the cabinets in the house. You know, and then she's like, "The family really liked you. We're going to go with your offer."
That's
Nuts.
what's up. Being
And
curious, asking questions.
I was at least 20 grand below that other investor.
Man,
at least.
look at that. There it is, man. No like and trust. Heck yeah.
Yep.
Hey, Sarah, I see your hand up. Feel free to unmute yourself and join in.
Oh, yeah, thanks. I'm with Matt, right? I'm trying to prospect for the listing, not for the investment. So I feel like maybe my best approach is just to approach it. What I'm hearing you say is just approach it very directly like that, like maybe any other prospecting call.
Yes. I mean, I mean, I don't think there's anything wrong with saying that you can help out with probate. I think what we're saying is to be clear with your message. You at least want them to know, hey, well, by the way, you know, if you do approach it with the concierge approach, you know, you can you can say, hey, by the way, the property that's there, what do you guys plan for the property? You guys decide, or is it a little too early? And then, you know, you can take that from there. Well, you know, and then take it from what that conversation states. You know, like sometimes I'll go for the I'll make I mean, I'm not making an assumption, but I'm asking this question not as an assumption, but to get to somewhere. I'll say, hey, it sounds you guys probably already have an attorney or probably already taken care of, right? And they'll say, if they say no, then, you know, we can have the conversation. If they say yes, all right, cool, great. Oh, by the way, before I get off, and then I may ask about the property and all. But so I think as someone who lists property, please, anyone who's a realtor, please speak to what's been working for you or what you found. But I think it is being clear that you are interested in the real estate. And of course, the more you support and the more you help them with any aspect that you can help, the more you're going to stand apart from folks who are just saying, hey, let me list your property. Let me list your property.
Yeah, for sure.
Sarah, you got to realize though, going into that appointment to get that appointment, I've found in my market that 80% of the people do not want to list these houses unless it's just retail condition where there's nothing needed other than sweeping it out and cleaning it or getting someone to clean it. And I offer that too. If it's going to be a listing, I'll clean it for them for $350. Don't matter. But I've just found in my market, and I know with the families, if you're leading by, hey, let me list your house, you're probably not going to hear back from them.
Got it.
You have to be in a position with investors to make them a cash offer for probably 20-25% below what you listed for.
So probably being able to present both options.
100%.
Yeah.
You
we
can't walk out.
Have an award together.
Nice.
There it is. And
It
presenting
took me weeks to figure that out.
Oh,
That's
wow.
awesome. Wow. Did you ever go to the event that I was at?
I think, in
Nice.
California.
Perfect.
Yeah.
I learned a lot from him.
Yeah, he's good.
But this has changed. I even got out all coaching because coaching directs you towards getting the listing.
Yeah.
And if you look at, I used to go for the 80, 90 closings a year. I promise you I did. In 2019, I did over 100 deals. According to, my goal was always to make $7,500 a commission. So whatever that would be, if it's $200,000 sale or $500,000 sale, most of my sales were under 300 grand. But we did did technically 127 sales according to that number, that amount in 2019. But today, to right now in this market in August, I've done 27 deals closed, and it's worth almost $500,000 of earned assignments or commissions.
You're saying there's maybe more money in looking into that.
A little bit, and it's less stressful too. You're not going to get a deal every week, or Kevin Ward was always teaching, hey, you need to at least get one contract. You go on 3 appointments, you get one contract a week. That's still the same principle, but you're going to have to pick up your marketing on the cash offer stuff to get that. We probably get one. Well, I got 27, so we're closing 3 or 4 a month right now on the cash offer stuff.
Yeah.
And it's but I just got an attorney invite to a networking party for Friday. It's just great. I get to meet. He said I get to meet the #1 probate attorney in Fort Worth.
Nice.
Oh, yeah.
And that's taken me 14 months to get invites like that.
Yeah. But that constant generating business, though, it's like your pipeline is filled. And there's probably opportunities every week or month happening for David and for you all who are constantly prospecting and marketing, constantly trying to find new and following up.
These attorney deals are not hitting the books either. They're handled. I would say half of the attorney deals are handled outside the probate courts, just like you're settling a lawsuit.
Oh, wow.
I almost guarantee you that we're missing. I would advise everybody on this call to figure out some kind of marketing plan every 21 days or 45 days to send the attorneys something, and to get a list of all the attorneys in the data you buy and send them something every 45 days.
Heck yeah. I can dig that.
Okay.
Well, folks, with the unless there's another question, a little bit of time we have left, I'm just going to share a couple of the slides that I have here. But again, if there's another question, please or thoughts, please just hop in and share. But it sort of speaks to what we were saying earlier with the question I think Matt asked. One approach that is just some of the approaches that I found helpful for me for prospecting when I'm making calls is, again, having a blank slate, not making assumptions. Yeah, I do know where I would want the conversation to go, but not making assumptions that my offers isn't going to be strong, or they don't want to speak to me or anything, So it's like I just have to make that call. So I try to do that with each call. Another thing is I focus on the swing, not the shot. If anybody knows, I've got addicted to that silly thing called golf about a year or so ago. So all my analogies are usually golf related. I'm new to the game, so I'm excited about it. But in golf, you can really get over. Once I swing and hit that ball, if I do hit it, I can't necessarily after that control where it goes. So I know each of you all may have your own prospecting and marketing schedule. Hopefully you do, that's holding you accountable, that allows you to continue to build that pipeline, whether it's, going to the courthouse, going to networking events, cold calling, mailing, combination of those things. As long as you have those things in place, I know if I make 75 follow-up calls, I know that I'm generally going to get about 5 to 7 new leads. Those are yeses or maybes. Now they may not be ready for another month, 2 months, 3 months, or even, way down the road. But at least I know that if I do that, it usually leads to leads, which lead to deals. And so if I focus on those income producing activities, I can, if I focus on my behavior, I can control if I blank slate. I can control if I call. I can control if I have a warm tone, or if I'm listening more than talking. Those are things I control. I can't control if someone literally says yes, or if the deal closes. Like I had a deal supposed to close today. Finds out the lady she's going through a divorce and her husband is refusing to sign. I can't control that. I'm going to try to talk to him and see if we can rectify the situation. I can't control trying to speak to him, but I can't control if that closes. But I can control on my swing. So don't focus on the necessarily the results, but focus on your actions. Now, if you're tracking it, which is another one of those things, you will be able to look and observe your behavior, and then you can decide, okay, maybe I do need to make some adjustments after 3 months because I'm not getting the results that I should be getting from the swings I'm taking. So my environment too, being around awesome folks like you guys, Sheila and Sarah and David and folks. It's going to help, cream rises to the top, or iron sharper iron, whatever slick, cool cliche or that's true that speaks to you. Make sure that your environment, or I have to make sure my environment is full of positivity. When I'm in the car, I'm listening to the positive things. I'm constantly listening to sales scripts. I'm listening to other people's stories that inspires me. And so, we know this, but our environment is so important. We are a reflection of that. Role play. Now, I do like working with live ammunition, but I also like to role play. I'm fortunate enough to have a guy who's in Probate Mastery. We role play every morning from 8:30 to about 9. Usually we get off about 8:50, and that puts me right into my calls. And I'm ready to go, warmed up. He's critiquing me, I'm critiquing him. So if you can role play, once a week or once 2 times a week, it's really important to practice what you're doing. Yeah. And then just knowing, like you heard, I know I keep mentioning name, but you heard David mentioning some folks who have influenced him. Understand who influences your approach. There are tons of different approaches to sales. There are some core principles, but people may have different angles, and finding 1 or 2 or 3 voices that resonate you is so important. I know when I first got into real estate, it's not necessarily about prospecting, but I love Bigger Pockets, but every episode I was like, oh, I'm going to be a wholesaler. Oh, I'm going to flip. Oh, I'm going to sell notes. Oh, I'm going to, this or that. It's like, so once you're able to find those voices that connect with you, maybe even challenges you. So it doesn't have to always be one that you're comfortable with, but one that speaks to you. I would try to narrow that down and really follow those voices, and still you're building your knowledge, from your own experience, but make sure you know who influences your approach so that you can take advantage of that learning and provide it. That's where that practice come over. Reflect, adjust, and take action. Reflect, adjust, and take action. And I think I have one more slide up here. Oh yeah, what is measure growth? So you don't have to have a spreadsheet of a gazillion things. Some of us are using that Monday site, and it has some awesome baby steps and tools that Bruce has been able to break down into some digestible ways. And by measuring those things, those is what usually grows. What you put your attention towards usually grows. And it's also a way you can actually make informed decisions about how you're going to adjust your behavior. Like my numbers, men lie, women lie, numbers usually don't lie. I saw about 3 weeks ago, my numbers were down as far as how many people I was prospecting before. And that's going to affect me 2 months from now. What I'm doing today affects 2 to 3 months from now. So I had to, hey, Courtney, got to get it going because you slacked off for those 2 weeks as far as your consistency of numbers. So it's important to measure. And I think those are just a couple of things that, interact. Oh, yeah. And you got to do it. None of this substitutes for actually talking to people, whether you're cold calling, whether you're going to these events with different vendors, where you're going to attorneys' offices, spaces, generating business, speaking to folks, being a part of their story. There's no amount of listening to YouTube or reading books or setting up your website or getting your whatever is going to replace income generating activity, in my humble opinion. All right, there it is. I don't know why. Oh, I guess you have a mumble mentality. Oh yeah, and you have your confidence. Like I'm up there. I'm not trying to. If you've noticed by now, my style is not the hey, I'm the smartest guy in the room. In fact, it's very easy for me not to play that because I am not the smartest person in the room, not even on this call, But having a certain level of confidence to be able to be vulnerable and be authentic, I think it's one of those, 5 laws of success, being your authentic self. Now, I don't want to be mumbling, bumbling, stumbling, and, acting so whatever, but I do want to be myself and want to know that, hey, I have something of value to bring and I can be a part of that person's journey and story and add value. And that usually ends up with the lead, with the deal, and with, being compensated for it, which is, how we put food on our table.
Yep.
Any thought? Oh yeah, please. Yep.
Well, just understand the different personalities and the different. Bruce and I go back and forth all the time about the different types of calls that I like making, and maybe Courtney likes making, or anybody on this call likes making. But if I could break it down just real fast, like if you're calling the same in probate, you have the same addresses, you have local people dealing. The PR is local to the family member. It's a different address, but it's a local address. And then you have the PRs that are usually out of the area, and or attorneys that are dealing with it as an administrative assistant, not administrative assistant, but administrator. You have those, let's just say we have 4 different personalities of the types of calls you can make in probate. The same address people that are spouses or someone died in the house, you probably want to treat it, the person that likes to talk to people and build relationships on the phone and not be too aggressive, that's going to be your circle prospecting type phone call.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you're gonna that person is gonna be that personality that likes to build friendships and talk for hours, just one person on the phone without getting anywhere on that phone call. But you may end up with that listing in 6 months 18 months down the road, because you're going to call them 5 to 6 times and have a 1 hour coffee chat with them. Then you have your local ones, your PRs that are going to have a local realtor or friend or family member that's going to probably list that property. You have to be their second. You got to be their backup.
Amen.
So you have to treat that almost like an expired for sale by owner, because they're going to list for sale by owner by themselves, rent it themselves, or list it with a realtor themselves. Or they know the process of selling the house because they're local. They're dealing with it. Somebody assigned them to be the PR of the estate because they are the smartest person in the family or the most responsible, and or they know real estate. You got to understand that part. And then you got PRs that are out of state or out of the area. For me, anybody that's outside the Dallas-Fort Worth area, 7675 zip code, it starts with that zip code. I treat them like they're out of area, so they need me the most. They probably don't know someone in the area, and they probably don't want to deal with the vacant property. These are all our vacant mailers that came back in just 1 week.
Wow. Oh, that's gold right there.
Okay. So this goes above that list of out of area probate. So I know all these houses are vacant. So I put them on my Excel sheet and I attack them. These are the ones that I'm calling. These are the ones that I'm super aggressive about buying. And then you got attorneys. They're analytical. They went to law school they went to get a degree in some kind of social engineering, and they went to law school to be a lawyer. And then you're getting a hold of them when they figure out their specialty, which is probate or estate planning, which takes years of continuing education. They do not want to deal with somebody that is a brand new agent or has no resume. So send them your resume, beef it up, and just wait for them to call you, kind of. And for me, I just want them to call me, because the best calls I get are from my letters. The best margins I get for buying houses are from my letters.
Wow. Mm-hmm.
I've gotten some good deals, and I'm talking too much, but I've gotten some good deals from prospecting. But do what I just said. Treat them like the personalities that, if you have a personality where you like to talk to people and not really get to that appointment right away, I'm the total opposite. I just want to talk to somebody that's going to want to meet with me and get on that appointment and meet them face to face to do a deal.
That's one of the cool things. I think what's his name? Jim Rohn says about, the being successful or path to success is not it's not necessarily getting to your goal, but the person that you need to be or become to reach that goal. And I love, like, just what you're saying, David. I love being like the understanding human psychology. There's so much to it. We're the most fascinating beings that I've come across from my experience. And so it's cool to be able to be like, okay, what type personality is this? How I'm not being fake and I'm not being a chameleon, but I am.
You have to be.
It's not about. I'm adapting to that person's space.
The best thing you'll learn is from the chameleon type animals, the lizards,
so
the snakes.
Like, even to the point.
Sorry,
what Matt was saying earlier about your approach, one thing I do is I'm noticing the way they say hello to me and the tone. If they say hello, I'm literally matching back hello. If they say howdy, I'm matching back howdy. If they're upbeat, I'm upbeat.
They're cussing.
They're low, if they're cussing, I'm cussing. If you know what I'm saying, I'm not being disingenuine, but I'm being a tool for them. So if me being able to adapt to theirs allows them to make decisions, which I'm helping them do, then I'm going to do that, So we're fascinating beings, and being curious about humans and being curious about the other person is going to let you ask those questions that allow them to talk more, paint their picture, get their pain out, and then you can match their pain with some solutions, hopefully, that you may have, whether it's a listing or selling or whatever it may be.
And everybody misses it in probate. I don't know why, but it's the age group that we're calling too. We're not calling we're not calling the 20-year-olds, the 30-year-olds, the 40-year-olds, the 50-year-olds. We're really not. You're most likely going to talk to a baby boomer that's helping their mom or their dad's estate that they lived until they were 80, 90, and you're calling someone in their 70s.
That's
so they don't want to be text messages. They don't want to personalized mail is gold. You know, we're working on a thing with Google Apps right now to make it real personal, but like here, let's see here. No, that's a template one. This one I sent before, but the more personal you could get on these letters going out to these people are going to be super, super important.
And that is one thing you could do. Just hearing what you say, Dave, that's kind of inspiring. Is like go back, look at your last year deals. Look at the anatomy of the avatar that has become and created. You know, yep. I do know that there's a certain, I don't know, 60 to like older women seem to. I mean, I'm just thinking about the people that I usually speak to that I kind of build rapport with. That could be a healthy exercise. Go back to your deals. Look at those folks. Now, again, we don't want to make assumptions, but we want to be prepared to be able to speak to people in their way. So that's where the art comes in, right?
And if you're identifying that and you're breaking down your probates and you see a name, I hate to say this, I'm not, today's culture of being racial or whatever. I'm usually dealing with the older white woman. I am. There's nothing an issue with that. Or it's actually the older white women, older black women usually call me.
Yeah,
I have the best time with older black women. I don't know why.
Yes, there's nothing wrong with that. I stop myself from saying that, but that's literally older white women, older black women that's the people that
they just we could chat for hours, and it's just like crazy. Yeah. Some lady just invited me over to look at her house to give her some contract tips. And it's I went over to buy the house, but then she just wanted to work on it. She'll never will.
And that's one of those levels of rapport too. Like, like they say 3 levels of rapport, and this is directly from Todd Toback, who borrowed from someone else. But if you can connect with someone on a certain level, that's one level of rapport. If you can get them to teach you something, that's the deeper level rapport. And if you can get them to actually give you something, that's deep level rapport. And the deepest. He always gives the story of he loves tomatoes, connects with a person about tomatoes. She told him some tips about tomatoes. He left that house with a bag of tomatoes. And I've had that happen with folks when it comes to technology and other things. And so that's just a quick, deep mini workshop on building rapport. But we are coming to the hour, so I do want to give folks a chance to maybe ask one last question, drop their information into the chat. Oh, I'll just take the 2 questions in the chat. One, when do most people call? And we had some people answer, like, for instance, I call from 9 to 12, and then I call in the evening from like 4 to 6, but that's just my schedule. All the people can chime in, but I just say, make the calls if that's your source of, I would encourage you to make the calls, whether you're talking to PRs, attorneys, or whoever. It doesn't matter. Call them, make the calls. But anybody else want to chime in on this time?
I'm sorry. You're real quick. You're going to be talking to most people's voicemails anyway. So, what I love about probate and making phone calls is that you know who you're calling. It's not like an expired or for sale by owner. They're not mad at you yet. They could be. Their for sale by owner is not. They're a know-it-all. So where was I going with this? But
oh my God, you're so right.
When to make the calls?
For probate, you don't have to follow. For Kevin Ward, for Haas Pratt, for all the coaches I coached with for 10 years, they're like, you got to be up at 8 o'clock. You got to make calls by 8:30. You got to be on some kind of training call by 10:30, and then back on the calls. Go to lunch at 12. Come back at 1 if you have no appointments, to make more calls. Probate, I'm calling the ones that I connect with are the PRs out of my area. So at the most, I have 30 to call a week. And you times that by, let's say you have 3 months of follow-up. So at most, I have 400 people to call in a week to leave a voicemail for. You know, it doesn't take long to go through 50 of those a day and to leave voicemails and just remind them that I'm here if they ever need me. It does not take that long.
Are you guys using a dialer or are you hand dialing?
If I'm cold calling distressed properties, like, you know, I'll pull a list from PropStream or something,
Yep.
I'll use a dialer. But these, just like David said, there's everything
It's
you just said,
single.
a smaller number, I single dial. I'll call it directly. Directly on my phone because it's so easy.
I leave a voicemail for most of them. So, but I want, hey, this is Dave Pennell. I'm calling about the probate again. I know that you're probably not, I don't want to assume anything, but I just say, I'm here in Dallas Fort Worth if you need me for anything with selling the house or renting it out. I leave a long voicemail, try to get that full 3 minutes in. And I just talk to their voicemail.
And that's a great. Well, why do you leave a long voicemail?
Because it transcripts it on their phone, so it's like a text message, but they know that I left it for them because I'm saying their name, and most of the phones are going to be iPhone 11 or up, so it's going to transcribe that whole voicemail for somebody the age group of 65 and above. They're going to love it, and it's going to come across. You ever seen an old person's phone? Their text message is really big.
So that another reason I heard, that's an awesome reason, knowing what technology is doing now. I've heard some people say, you know, have certain approaches where people like leave that short voice message. Hey, this is Courtney. I was calling about the money. And the curiosity trying to get them called back. Cool. That works. That's cool. That's gimmicky. But if you leave a long voice message and someone listens to that voice message and they call you back, that is already, they have already spent the time listening. So you've already are filtering, qualifying, because we can't talk to everybody. It's not if you have 1,000,000 leads, you probably have really too many leads. You can't serve all those folks unless you
Let me tell you one more thing, Courtney, too.
Yeah.
If you have that voicemail in their phone, right? What is it? It comes across as content, right?
You're right.
So when you go to retarget them, everybody on this call needs to take that data from probate that they're buying and retarget them on Facebook or YouTube or Google for $10 a day. You need to spend at least $10 a day. That information on their phone, if you say this is Dave Pennell, I'm in Fort Worth, Texas, or whatever city that house is in,
awesome.
you're going to retarget them, and the phone's going to know that you're going to be in front of them on their social media for the next 90 days.
That I need to get into because, you know,
is there like a way to, I don't know how to retarget.
You hire someone.
No, I need to.
Just hire someone to take your data. GGMS in Florida does it for me. They take everything from my CRM and they just put it into my retarget ad. Literally, I get a bill every week for $114. $114.
So now they're going to start oh man, that is awesome. That is
TTMS.
GGMS. GG. It's Mike Gallagher's. And they're you just stay to. He's a great marketer. But I'm telling you, the minimum stuff you do, I spend $8,000 a month on marketing. It's not cheap. It's letters, it's phone calls, it's social ads. But the minimum you need to do is call the out of area people. If you're aggressive like I am, you leave the long voicemails. You'll never see a return for it. You just know when they call you, they're like, hey, I've been getting your calls and letters.
That's awesome.
They say that on every call I get a return call.
That is awesome.
And like I said, you only have to be 1.5 people they call. They're going to call a family member. And if they realize that they don't know what they're doing with probate, and you're talking about probate issues and how to deal with it, I'm taking over your call. I'm sorry, Courtney, but man, this is
not my call. This is our call. This is exactly what we're supposed to do. Yeah, I'm actually about to wrap it up here, though. So obviously, you see folks who are new. We have folks with so much knowledge willing to share. If you're new, you have experience that you can share with us and bring that new energy that inspires us to keep going and really think about what we're doing, because the more aware of what we're doing, the better we can be at it and we can make adjustments as we need. But this is the Probate Mastery call. There will be a recording. I hope you enjoy your time. If you could do me a favor, I think I put in the chat my YouTube's link. I use it for passive prospecting, but I'm 100 away or 98 people away from it actually being monetized by YouTube. So I have 902 subscribers. I would love for you to be 903, 904 and help me hit that like and subscribe. I would love to interview some of you guys. I've already interviewed Cam and a couple other folks up here, maybe And shoot, I'm gonna have to hit you up, David, to see if you'd be willing to hop on with me. But would love for you to help me grow that channel so I can get more people on there. And if I have left my phone number there too, if you want to give me a call, please reach out to the Probate Mastery if you have any questions about the program that you're a part of. And other than that, peace and blessings. Anybody have any last things to share?
If you could get past the negativity of these people not wanting you right when you call them, this is the most beautiful niche that you'll ever work in real estate, and you will not have to close that many transactions. My goal is to do 36 or less transactions now, but I maximize the return on those transactions. And I'm not chasing what other realtors are chasing anymore. I work probably 3 hours a day to make sure my mail goes out, make my phone calls, and then my marketing team does the social stuff.
So think about it. David is in blue ocean. You don't want to be in red ocean where it's bloody and there's tons of other sharks. I don't believe in competition, but let's go swim in the blue ocean. Heck yeah. All right.
Especially
I'm so
today.
tired of expireds. I'm so tired of it.
Yeah.
Hey, especially with the way the commissions are changing with the buyer tour stuff. I hope to never if this is on YouTube, I hope to never have to show up another house unless it's an investor. And I haven't in the last 10 years. I haven't had to. I don't want to go around showing property to people that don't have a loyalty to me unless I have to sign a contract up front. I mean, it's just go after listings and work on this niche. Get to know all your attorneys in your area. You don't have to go bug them. You don't have to go to their office or bring them cakes and stuff. You just got to put your resume in front of them. They're analytical. They've earned their right to be a officer of the law. Remember that. And they represent the clients you want to go after.
So folks, this is the actual space where you're absorbing, sharing, building the education. Now it's time for us to go out and serve. Let's go do it. All right. So that's it. I'm about to click off this bad boy, and I will see you all to the next one. Thanks, David. Thanks everyone we saw up here. Y'all take care.